What up guys, my name is Jay and welcome to the first episode of my brand new series, Fate Spotlight. Basically where I take a Fate character, from the franchise, made popular by, of course, Type Moon, created by Type Moon, and not necessarily do the same thing as like a servant spotlight like G&A Reviews does, or, Chaldea Gurus, but more or less kind of give a opinion piece on said servant and kind of just give my thoughts, my opinion on them, kind of, play armchair psychologist a little bit, kind of give you my opinion on their character, their development, and what I like and dislike about them. And I figured, what better place to start than, of course, the poster girl of the franchise herself, Saber, Artoria Pendragon, or Artoria if you want to be a degenerate about it, because they want to spell it weird in Japanese, because L's and R's. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about the King of Knights. Also, before we, get too deep into the video, I am using gameplay from Mizazuki Lewd, as well as a couple other FGO YouTubers. I will leave links to the full videos in the description down below. Of course, gotta give credit. I didn't want to just have you subjected to me sitting here talking, so I might as well have some gameplay on in the background. And I don't actually have Artoria in my Chaldea, so, I had to use somebody else's. But if you would like to submit gameplay for future episodes, definitely hit me up on Twitter at Mr. J's Chaldea. DM me a link to your gameplay and I will be sure to feature it if that servant comes up in a request or something. So, back to Artoria. What do I think about OG Saber? So, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, Fate and Fate Grand Order has shown us that there are abundance of different Artorias and Artoria faces. And, to be honest, Artoria is kind of the most vanilla of all the Artorias, because she's the default model. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, she has kind of this like kudere type personality, not necessarily a full kudere, because she does show emotions and she is capable of happiness and stuff like that, but she's very cold and stoic. But I think what I like about her personality, and definitely what a lot of, fans, grew to love about her from OG FSN, is kind of the tragedy of her story, right? Because, Artoria was raised to be a king, and raised to be the perfect king by Merlin. And so, because of that, really all her effort and energy went into ruling and kind of being objective and, thinking things straight and always being serious, never really having her own happiness in mind, instead thinking about the happiness of her people and just considering the greater good, which in the end led to her downfall, because eventually her people saw her as almost a robot, right? Someone who, was thoughtless and didn't really know the needs of her people and wasn't in tune with her people or his people, because they thought he was a man, she was a man, obviously. But yeah, a king that wasn't in tune with the thoughts of his people, did not know his people's plight, and kind of just stood above the rest. And this is kind of where Mordred comes in, and I can't really talk too deep about Mordred, because Mordred should get her own episode in itself. But where Mordred comes in is Mordred sees Arthur as this kind of pinnacle. And when she makes the fatal mistake of revealing herself, Artoria, because she honestly just does not know how to deal with human emotion, really, she hasn't allowed herself to express human emotion and actually take in the fact that she does have family, she has somebody to share her life with. She does what she thinks is best for the kingdom and is like, no, you're not fit to rule the kingdom, Mordred. You just don't have what it takes to be a king. I'm sorry. I can't acknowledge you as my son or my heir. That's it. And that leads to the whole Battle of Camelon thing. And it's unfortunate. You know, we'll go into more detail with that when I eventually do an episode on Mordred. But yeah, that's super unfortunate. Now we get to Fate Zero, right? Fate Zero, Artoria, she has a clear goal in mind. She wants to get the Holy Grail in order to basically undo her past. She wants to create this ideal kingdom because she sees the world how it is now, and it's pretty fucked. And she wants to fulfill her dream of creating the perfect kingdom and, you know, make a world that is just filled with peace and idyllic. Because, you know, Artoria still, even though she's, you know, heroic spirit, she still has the mind of that 16-year-old girl, right? Or I guess she was like 18-ish, whatever age she was at, canonically. But yeah, she still has kind of that mindset, which is why she kind of works well with Kiritsugu. They have similar dreams, except, you know, Kiritsugu is willing to, you know, achieve those dreams by any means necessary, while Artoria still kind of holds fast to her lawful good nature. And so this leads to obviously a clash between master and servant, where they serve the same goal but don't agree on what ends justify their mutual means. And I think that's what makes their dynamic very interesting all throughout Zero. And then we fast forward and we get to Fate Stay Night, in particular the Fate route. And this is where Saber's character arc goes full circle, really, and she finally gets to experience emotion thanks to Shiro. Shiro talks to her, he opens up to her, he kind of, his need to protect her, although unnecessary and kind of foolish, it allows her to be more vulnerable and it allows her to open up, and that's what allows her, again, to experience emotion and to finally be a person for the first time in her life. And it is what opens her up to fall in love with Shiro, and it's that love that finally changes her around and makes her realize that, yeah, no, I don't need the Holy Grail. What I needed was just kind of to understand where I went wrong, and now that I was able to experience love and, you know what this is and, you know, feel these emotions, I can understand how Mordred felt. I mean, she doesn't say this outright, but, like, you know, I feel like, you know, it kind of, like, that light bulb went off into her head. It's like, all Mordred wanted was to be loved. And I could have done that for her, but I didn't. I should have done that. And, you know, that's kind of what I eventually hope to happen at some point, hopefully in FGO or maybe some other Fate spin-off game. But I would love to just have an Artoria that has had that experience and has had that ability to fully express emotion and kind of indulge herself, to finally kind of sit down with Mordred with mutual understanding and finally kind of, you know, be a family. It would just be really good to see that happen, personally. You know, Artoria has a lot more depth than people give her credit for. I mean, same goes for Shiro. A lot of people like to meme Shiro and say that he's kind of just bland shonen protagonist. And, you know, the next episode I am going to do is on Shiro Emiya, which both includes regular Shiro and Archer Emiya. So that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, no, in that episode, I'm going to go deeper into his character as well. But yeah, no, it just goes to show that, you know, Artoria is a true tragic hero. And, you know, people need to give her a lot more respect. She's been through a lot. And, you know, because of how she was raised, she was kind of, pardon the pun, fated to, you know, reach the destination that she eventually did. You know, she was a great king, a great leader, a great warrior, but she never got to be a person, and that was kind of the biggest thing for her and kind of the biggest fault, which is why, you know, I didn't like her at first when, I first watched Fate Stay Night. I kind of thought she was boring. But, like, the more we got to see of her in, Unlimited Blade Works and, other takes, FGO as well, different things like that, you really get to see that Saber does have a lot more to her. And it's these more small human moments that really kind of just endear you to Saber. She's a great character. Gameplay-wise in FGO is another story, but, this series isn't about, like, critiquing Servant gameplay or anything like that, despite me having gameplay running in the background right now. But yeah, those are just kind of my quick thoughts on Saber Artoria. She's not somebody I have, like, super deep opinions on, so this is a more shorter video, but I do actually have a lot more to say on Emiya, so tune in next week for that episode. And if you want to submit your Emiya gameplay, if you have a good Emiya, like I said, you can DM me on Twitter at Mr. J Chaldea, a link to your Emiya gameplay, and I will be sure to credit you in the beginning, and at least, even if I forget to, mention your name in the beginning, you will be credited in the description down below if you provide gameplay for the video. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Fate Spotlight on Artoria Pendragon, the King of Knights. But until next time, this is Jay from Mr. J Chaldea. And hopefully you guys will, like and subscribe, do all the normal YouTube things. I do stream FGO almost daily over on Twitch, so if you want to join in on my FGO shenanigans and my roll streams, witness all my salt and all that good stuff, definitely check that out. Link is in the description. You'll also see it on the end card, twitch.tv/Mr. J Chaldea. So definitely check that out. And like I said, you can also follow me on Twitter. I retweet a lot of FGO art. I, post all my rolls and stuff on there as well. And, it's a good place to keep up with all my content and my video schedules and stuff like that. So definitely follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Links are in the description. But until next time, hopefully you will catch me back here for my next episode on Shiro Emiya. And remember, people die if they are killed. So enjoy life while you can. But until next time, I'll catch you later. Let me ray shift out of here. Peace.